The Weekend UpNate. The Weekend UpNate. Your weekly recap of news, current events, and trending stories. Let's do this. The Weekend UpNate with your host, Nate Ambruster.
Hello and welcome to episode I forgot of Weekend UpNate. I can't remember what number. Is this 59 or is this 60? It's getting up there. We're almost to 60. Let me see here. It looks like 59. Happy episode 59, everybody. Thanks for listening. I appreciate you being here. It's official. I officially put out, for those of you who have been paying attention, I put out an album recently, about a month ago, and then I also filmed it, and I decided to put it up on YouTube in its entirety. Now, I called it a special because it's just a headlining set, but I also, put a little effort into it. It's edited. It's a nice quality video. It's not, I didn't shoot it on my iPhone. I put a little effort into it. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to call it a special. Also, I don't know if you know how the internet works, but keywords are a thing. If people search comedy special, you want people to find your set, right? Now, comedy, this is what's great about comedy right now, is it's kind of cool again. Like with Netflix specials and all this stuff, it kind of made it popular. I mean, comedians are touring in arenas, very famous now. It's weird. But it's also exciting because that means people are interested in it. And I like that about it. But it also creates this world of quote unquote experts who, because they listen to comedy podcasts, not mine, but they listen to they listen to comedy podcasts like Mark Maron or Joe Rogan, and all of a sudden they become an expert on comedy, right? So they think they know everything about, they must know what goes into it. They must know actually how much effort it takes to just get good enough to do it without sucking. I mean, I'm not the best comedian, but I'm sure as hell I'm not the worst, and I'm not going to say who's worse on the microphone because I'm not an asshole. That's just how it is. Some people, that was always my goal. Anything creative, it's just I'm just trying to make something fun. It's something I like to do, and this is fun. But someone out there isn't going to like it. That's just how it works, okay? If you're doing anything creative, people are going to be like, that's not for me. I have opinions on movies, but I don't make movies. So who the hell am I to say that this movie isn't a good movie, right? I can't call myself an expert on anything, really. I don't even know about comedy sometimes. I don't know. I mean, just do what you do. And if it works, that's amazing. Good for you, But, so I put this thing up on YouTube expecting, I didn't know what to expect, because normally I don't put any footage of my sets online because I never really saw the point to it. But I've been doing this podcast for a while, so I'm open to criticism. Obviously you're not going to please everybody. You're not going to be comedy's a subjective thing. There's some comedians I don't like. There's some comedians I don't think are funny. I mean, I don't even know if I think I'm funny all the time. However, if I get a good set on tape, I'm like, you know what? If these people at the show liked it, maybe someone on the internet will like it. Now, as long as more people like it than hate it, I consider it a win, But the lovely world of YouTube, this is just the most accessible way for people who don't know me to find it. That's the goal with this thing. Maybe someone will find it, think I'm funny, and give me a follow, maybe listen to my podcast. That's what you want out of this. That's why you make it. And I put it up on YouTube thinking this is going to be the easiest place for people to find it. Hopefully, people will, and they'll like it. And so far, so good. And in less than 48 hours, it's got over 3,000 views. Now, that's not a lot when you really look at the internet. I mean, how many billions of people are online? But for someone who is unknown like me, who's just like, here's a funny thing I did or a thing that I'm proud of, give it a watch. Let me know if you like it. And I got a lot of really nice comments, 90% positive, and it's not even that many. But I got one negative comment, and I wanted to share it with you guys just because this is what I love about the internet, okay? Like I said, I'm not even offended that this guy didn't like it because, of course, this isn't going to be for everybody. But I do love the expert tone that people take they'll go to a comedian who's just, I'm not affecting anybody's life, man. Nobody knows who I am. You can relax you can relax a little bit. Here's what this guy said, okay? So I got a lot of like pretty positive comments, like great job, I really liked it, thank you. Just watch the show, and if you don't like it, you can change it. By the way, this is what blows my mind about modern day entertainment in this digital world. If you don't like something, you don't have to watch it or listen to it. People who hate certain genres of music or certain types of movies, and they love to sit there and make fun of them or shit on them or talk about how much they suck. I'm like, why do you even give that much of your time and energy to it? Okay, like if you don't like it, you don't even need to be around it, So this guy, Shane, okay, his name is Shane Terrell, and I'm using his full name because that's his YouTube name. Okay, and it says the first special in quotes I've ever seen where the crowd is better than the quote act ... Now, not the worst thing he could have said about my act, okay, or my quote act, but I'm like, I did it's a 45-minute set, and not one joke made you laugh, like not one, and that's my fault. You know what I mean? Like that really doesn't make sense. But he took the time to watch it long enough. I don't know how long he watched it for, but he took the time to watch some of it. Let's say that, because there's no way he got through it, right? I'm sure with an opinion like that, since he saw the whole quote act, he's probably got a well-rounded opinion. That's my assumption. Like why wouldn't he watch the whole thing if he's going to assume the whole thing sucks, right? So he couldn't find one good thing about it. And so I was just like, okay, that's an interesting opinion, because I like to hear criticism, I mean, other comics will give me advice. If I'm doing shows with somebody, they'll be like, hey, I think this is... I've done jokes where people are like, hey, I saw, so-and-so do that joke, and it's someone significantly more famous than I am, like someone like Jim Gaffigan, like a superstar comedian, right? Like a huge famous comedian. And I'll be like, oh, that's advice. That's like, okay, here, I think this is, I'll get opinions and I take them into consideration, but this is just fun. This is just like funny because he's really trying to like own me, right? And I go to his YouTube profile because I'm like, surely this guy is a comedy fan. He must know a thing or two about stand-up. He must have opinions he must have a favorite comedian if he hates my comedy so much. This is an opinion I'll care about. And then I go to his YouTube channel just to see what this guy's into. I'm like, maybe he's commenting on other comedy specials. I want to see what his interests are, his taste. And maybe that'll fall in line with his comment. I'll be like, okay, you know what? He's got a point. Maybe the crowd was better than my act. And every playlist, he creates YouTube playlists of his favorite videos. And I'm just going to walk through these with you guys, okay? Okay, the first one, it just is titled USS West Virginia. Now, I watched some of this video, and it's a guy telling a story about something scary, scary stories, okay? Now, that definitely falls into the same category as what I'm making, so this guy knows a lot about, he loves a scary story. So he's going to watch a quote comedy special, and I'm sure he'll have a well-rounded opinion. Okay, second playlist, Charleston, West Virginia paranormal. Okay, it's getting even better. This guy loves scary stuff, spooky paranormal stories. Okay, why not throw on a comedy quote special and then hate on it? This is what I love. This is what this guy does on YouTube. Okay, he makes playlists of paranormal YouTube videos, and then he'll stumble upon an unknown comedian's comedy special with a hot take. Okay, then there's more West Virginia paranormal, which is like, all right, I guess so. And then okay, this is my favorite part, the last two, and this is how I know this guy, this is how I know his opinion doesn't matter, is the last two playlists are miserable and heartstrings pulled out. This guy sounds like a blast. He sounds like he really knows how to enjoy himself, and probably the ideal comedy club audience member, if you ask me. Maybe he could use some cheering up, huh? Maybe he'll add my comedy special to his miserable playlist. How about that? That's a good idea. Now, I didn't mean to dedicate the first portion of this episode to a guy who left, a half-hearted, shitty comment on my quote YouTube special. And I love people who are like, yeah, the word special, it doesn't mean anything anymore. And I'm like, well, yeah, that probably started back when Netflix was putting out one every week, and most of them sucked. I can name numerous people that aren't on Netflix that have a better show on YouTube. They put their whole stuff out there, and they just let the internet decide if it's funny. And that's what I'm doing. So, yeah, I mean, I guess the word special is a little diminished, but it's not the 80s anymore. I'm sorry that it's not the way it was when you liked comedy. But what do you want me to call it? Give me an option. Give me another idea or another name for it, something I can call it. And then you'll be actually contributing to the conversation instead of just shitting on it. How about that? But this is the great thing about the internet, is that this guy's allowed to say, I'm not funny, in the weirdest way possible. And maybe he's going through something. He clearly is. I mean, who else has a dedicated playlist to being miserable? If he's miserable enough that he's going to make a playlist of songs to listen to when you're miserable, that's a real bummer. So if you take one thing away from this episode, it's that you're not that guy. Okay? You're doing all right. So if you want to see if this guy is right, please do me a favor and click the link in the show description to watch my YouTube set. I'll call it a set since you can't call it a special unless, HBO calls you. Okay? Since that's the rule that comedy fans have come up with, and they love their opinions. But please give it a watch and let me know what you think. Please comment, like, subscribe, share. Honestly, even if you hate it, you can say it. I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm not going to dedicate an entire... This is the only episode I'm going to dedicate to a shitty comment, okay? Maybe I'll call... If they're funny, I'll talk about them on the show. But, don't worry. I'm not going to be like this all the time. I just thought it was funny that this guy took the time out of his day to stop adding sad songs to a YouTube playlist to give my special a shot. And for that, I thank him. Now, like I said, please go check it out. I would love for you to watch it. It's pretty fun. And so far, 90% of the people are digging it. So I'll take that as a win. Okay? It kind of just... Sometimes when you do stand up, you're driving around wherever, just wherever, just trying to see if your jokes work. You just want to see if you can make people laugh, and it's just fun. It's fun too, but you just want to see if you can make people laugh. So one of the best ways to share that with people is to record it and put it on the internet. And that's what I did. Now, let's talk about my weekend, okay? The special's fun. That was a fun little exciting development. I'm in Michigan at the moment at a great club called One Night Stands, as in the name Stan, because the owner is named Stan. Isn't that great? This guy is great. He's just a huge comedy fan, and about 5 years ago, I think, he was like, you know what? I'm going to open up a comedy club, and he's doing a hell of a job. It's in a little town called Waterford, Michigan, suburb of Detroit area, and it's great. If you're ever in the area, I would encourage you to check it out. They have a lot of great shows this weekend. I'm with the very funny Mike Palisak, who is a great joke writer. You may have seen him he's pretty popular on Instagram. You may have seen him on any late night show, Comedy Central specials. I don't know. He's great. So we're having fun. The Friday show, though, so this was the schedule, is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and one show each night, except for Saturday, we're having two tonight. And the Friday show was canceled due to the weather. Now, I don't know if you've seen the weather lately, but in the Midwest, it's weird because one day it's 60 degrees, the next day there's a foot of snow on the ground. And that's what happened. There's ice storms, there's all sorts of shit coming in, and they were like, we're just going to cancel the show out of precaution. And I'm glad they did, because it would have been a mess. Nobody would have come out to the show. I mean, everybody in town was like, off the roads, stay home, people lost power. It was nuts. Now, I'm assuming if you live in the Midwest, you probably know, snow happens every year. This is a thing that it's part of the life. You got to deal with it, 6 months out of the year. It's going to be cold and miserable. And you would think if you grew up in the area, if you're from the area, anywhere where it snows most of the year, you'd be comfortable with the snow coming every year, right? I've accepted it. I'm a grown man. I don't even look at the weather anymore unless it's like a hurricane where like I might die. It's just I wake up and deal with what's outside. I just go out. Do I need Alexa? Do I need a coat? It's like that kind of thing. That's just where I'm at. I don't care. You can't change it. If you got to go out, you got to go out, right? So usually, and comedians have driven in everything. Like that was the thing. If they didn't cancel the show, I was still going to do it. I would have risked my life to do a set for whatever amount of people actually decided to brave the storm. But while I was out yesterday in this horrible weather, and it was bad, and I drive an old, tiny, Honda Civic, and it doesn't handle well in the snow. It's not that type of vehicle, but I had to get somewhere. And I'm like, okay, I'll drive in this. And they hadn't plowed yet because it had only been snowing for an hour or two. But it was starting to get really bad. Now, the unbelievable part to me is like being in Michigan for, every few months I'm back a lot. And so I've learned that the people for the Motor City, everyone here sure sucks at driving, Like the nice thing about Chicago is everyone just keeps moving. Sure, there's a lot of traffic, but it moves. That's the difference. Is like people here, they hesitate, they stop. You end up at a four-way stop, and you're arguing about who should go or what. You're not even arguing. You're just trying to be nice, and then it's like we just wasted 5 minutes of our life, and one of us should have just started. All you got to do is start going, and they'll let you go. Okay, that's literally faster, and it's easier on everybody. Just make up your mind. That's what I'm trying to say. And in this weather, I saw so many cars. It was like no one's ever driven in the snow before. Like go slow and don't, no sudden movements. Okay? Keep it nice and steady and go slow and you'll get there. But man, people are just flying. First of all, this guy behind me in like a huge pickup truck, right? The ideal vehicle for the snow. 4-wheel drive, the whole works. And he is 2 feet from my bumper. He is like right behind me. And I'm going like 25 miles an hour in a 40 mile an hour zone because I'm barely moving because of the snow, And this guy is just on my ass. And you would think, like, okay, if you're irritated, I might be the guy that's a little irritated. I would never crowd somebody like that in the weather. But just go around me, man. Why are people in a vehicle that's made for this weather? It's ideal. Why are you making this harder than it's got to be? Just go around me if you're such a tough guy, I bet you that's the same type of guy that goes home and comments on YouTube videos, Like it's like when you see, like, okay, I have this Honda Civic, right? Doesn't go really fast. It goes 0 to 60 in 2 days, all right? It's just old, and it gets me where I got to go, and that's what I love about it. But, you'll have like a Corvette pull up next to you, and they'll be like annoyed with how slow you're going. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, my car doesn't have the pickup that your Corvette has, buddy. That's what I love about people. It's like people are looking for a reason to be angry. Like you got to get mad at the guy in the Honda Civic who's in the right lane too. Like he's giving you all the space in the world, and you got to give him the finger while you fly by him. And you're not even driving. Like why have a car that fast if you're gonna drive it like a moron? Okay. You're supposed to be the guy passing everybody up. In fact, just go ahead of me. I let everybody pass now. I'm over. There is no road rage in my body. I just assume everyone in this country is armed and everybody's lost their damn minds, it seems. So I just assume like the minute I honk my horn, this guy's going to get out and just pull a weapon out on me. That's the tension I feel. It's so fun. It's weird. I was gonna say funny, but I don't know if it's that funny. It's funny like this tastes funny, not like haha funny. But it's a weird vibe out there. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna let this guy pass. He seems like he's having a hard time with life right now. So I just let him go right by me. All right, I think that I don't even know if I want to get into any goofy news stories this week because, I just rambled for about 20 minutes, and I think that's plenty of my nonsense for the week. So thanks so much for listening. As always, hit that subscribe button, watch my special, listen to my album, tell your friends about it, and you know what? Leave as honest of a comment as you want, and I promise this will be the only episode I ever dedicate to, unless I get another comment that just tops it, which is very possible. I mean, it is the internet. So we'll see how it goes. But I appreciate you for listening. Thank you so much. And we'll see you next week for a brand new episode of Weekend UpNate.
You've been listening to the Weekend UpNate with Nate Ambruster. And you liked it, didn't you? If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. And be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week on the Weekend UpNate.
Bye-bye.